All right, welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us on this week's episode of Weekly Dose with Dr. Uday. We have been talking about teens, adolescents, children, and mental health. And so we've had a few topics. And so this is another one that we're going to be talking about because we've had a lot of questions about them. And we have the expertise of Dr. Alugo, who's helping us shed some light on these issues. So today's topic is going to be how to help your teen manage stress at school. So before we get started, I'll start with introductions. My name is Dr. Uday. I'm a board certified family medicine physician. I'm based in Martinsburg, West Virginia. The name of my primary care practice is Apple Valley Family Medicine. I also own an aesthetic practice, and my goal with both is to have my patients feeling good and looking good. Now, I'm going to introduce Dr. Tolulope Alugo. She is a child and adolescent psychiatrist. She's the founder of St. John Cap and the Emotions Ambassador Program. She hosts the Walking on Eggshells with Dr. Tolu Podcast. Her goal is to help you balance supporting your child's mental health while caring for your own emotional health. So, Dr. Tolu, thank you so much for coming back.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here again.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to repeat the question just to make sure that we're all on the same page. So the question or the topic is how to help your teen manage stress at school. So I guess the first question is how can you tell that your teen is having stress at school?
Well, if you kind of notice a few things, you might notice that they're not happy to go to school. So they're trying not to go to school. They may kind of wake up and say, oh, I have a headache, I have belly aches, or they're asking to come home early. That's one thing. So the joy of being at school seems to be gone or going. They're leaving school early. They're worried about school. They're not sleeping. They're not hanging out with friends. You just notice a change in their functioning. Those may be indicators that there's something that's stressing them at school.
Gotcha. So what are the key things, at school that could be stressing the teenager or the child?
So usually it's usually two things. So it could be the academic demands of school. So is it that the work is harder? Are they having difficulty understanding, difficulty paying attention, difficulty staying on task? Is the workload higher than what they're used to or more complex? And then the other one could be the social aspect of school, which is usually quite a big one that sometimes parents fail to understand. So a kid may feel like they might feel self-conscious. They may have a worry about how they're perceived by their peers. They may feel that they don't fit in, or they may be bullied or excluded by other people at school, and that leads to being overwhelmed.
Gotcha. So what would you suggest parents to do in those kind of situations where they see that their child is stressed out?
So communication, and then ask them what is going on. What do you? Sometimes the kids can't figure it out, but really just trying to ask them, is it people? What's going on? Are you being bullied? Are you stressed? Are things difficult? Is schoolwork hard? So investigate. If they're not going because the work is hard, then you want to ask yourself, why is the work hard? Is it that this is complex material, or is there an undiagnosed learning difficulty? Do they need extra support, or are they just falling behind? Do they need a tutor? So so lots of questions, really. Talking to your child first and foremost, and then maybe going to talk to your child's teacher to figure out, have they noticed this stress? Do they have any idea where it's coming from?
Gotcha. So if it's the social issues, bullying or anything like that, what would you suggest in that situation, or being actually excluded?
Well, I mean, so some things are really overt, like bullying is obvious. So with bullying, you can go in there and talk to schools. Most schools have an anti-bullying policy. There are things that the school can put in place. But you also have to build up your own child's resilience such that they can be resilient enough to put boundaries in place to possibly stand up to the bully and not allow themselves to be pushed around. But that goes back to building your child's self-confidence. So a child who is confident, who knows who they are, is not easily bullied, not easily pushed around. So that is background work that you want to do well before they get to the point of being bullied. But it's never too late. At that point in time, you can really work on their self-esteem, work on them managing that bullying situation, and teaching them to seek help. So like in the emotional ambassador program, I have a whole lesson on handling relationships, and we talk about bullying and what to do if you're bullied. So kids kind of need to know who they can go to talk to, how they can handle being bullied. For girls, the commoner one is being excluded.
Okay.
So it's the I'm not going to talk to you, you're not in my friend group kind of business, which is very distressing. Again, you want to build up your own child's self-esteem. You want them to not just focus on one friend group, but have many friends, such that if one friend group doesn't work, they have another friend group. Those are life skills that a preteen, a teenager needs to develop, because then they're not so dependent on peer relationships. I find the girls are so dependent on their friends and what their friends think, and that really affects their mental health. So you
Gotcha.
want to help them with that.
That is actually really helpful. Now, that building on their self-esteem from the parents' aspect, what are suggestions to build self-esteem in a child?
So you want to kind of look at their strengths. You want to help them to develop their strengths. What skills do they have? Get them involved in extracurricular activities and like clubs and so on. Communication with them, be affirming of their strengths, of what they're good at. The way you talk to them, the way you view them, so they know they're appreciated. Use positive language, and then in areas where you find that they're weak, really try and strengthen those areas again by communication, by letting them know they're accepted by you, but you can help them in these areas. Sometimes you might find that putting them in like things like girl guides, such community activities, helps them to build up their skills, because they know I've done hard things, I've done challenges in my extracurricular activity, I'm doing a sport, I'm in a choir, stuff like that. Builds up their self-esteem, and then so it becomes less of a challenge in school.
Gotcha. This is so helpful. So, how can people connect with you, look you up, all that?
So I've got a website, www.stjohncap.com. I've got a blog on there. I've got a podcast, Working on Eggshells with Dr. Tolu. I also have a Facebook page, an Instagram page, as well as a YouTube channel, all by the name St. John Cap. So you can find me in all of these places.
That's so awesome. Dr. Tolu, thank you so much. This is so helpful. And for those of you listening, if you're looking for a great primary care physician, Apple Valley Family Medicine is accepting new patients. You can give us a call at 304-350-1087. And you can look us up online at www.applevalleyfamilymed.com. Have a wonderful week. Thank you.